Hey up, I'm back, and there's been some changes. Okay, so first things first, new office space. Me and my girlfriend moved into a new flat in Lincoln, where she is based for work. So I made the decision that I would relocate with her. So yeah, I'm now based in Lincoln, not Sheffield. And with the move comes a little bit of change in what I'm going to be hoping to do with this YouTube channel. So to those who are already subscribed to the channel, you'll know that last year during the first lockdown, I decided I was going to create a little YouTube series called Wildlife Close to Home, where I would go out, get some footage of some species, bring it back, edit it together and talk a little bit about the species that I've been filming. But I wanted to shift the direction of this Wildlife Close to Home series and decided that what I'd rather do is take you guys on my journey as I go out into the field filming and photographing wildlife. So it's going to be more of a wildlife photography and filmmaking vlog. So I'm going to be documenting more about my approach to wildlife photography and filmmaking, my approach to fieldcraft when it comes to photographing and filming wildlife. And then alongside this, I'm probably going to be uploading some shorter sequences based on certain species or locations that I've been working in. And then also maybe some editing tutorials or just anything you might be interested in, really, Q&As. I don't know, we'll see how the channel goes. We'll see if there's anyone who's interested in hearing anything specifically from me. And any progression that I have through personal projects that I set myself or any client or commercial projects that I have coming in as well. And back in January, Nina Constable, a wildlife documentary filmmaker, got in touch with me and asked if I'd be interested in creating a sequence for her Wild World winter mini-series that she was going to be releasing. The episode was released at the beginning of February, and if you haven't already, please do take 15 minutes out of your time just to give it a watch. I'll put a link in the description down below, and if I can, I'll stick one up here somewhere as well. It really was fantastic to be a part of this little collaboration between filmmakers from all across the country telling their stories about wildlife and nature close to their homes. And after speaking with Nina, we decided that a perfect thing for me to film would be a local nature reserve that I'd found since moving to Lincoln called Fiskerton Fen, which is a local wetland that's about 5 or 10 minutes away from my new flat. And at this little fen, I found some very interesting species that I really wanted to try and capture for this sequence. And two of the species that I targeted for this sequence were the otter and the rare and elusive Eurasian bittern. So yeah, over the next few videos, I'm going to be taking you into the field with me, sharing my journey, trying to find these very special species close to home. My first day back at the fen, starting to figure out spots that I can film from, where to set up my trail camera, and just for any signs of animals that I can find, really. And there's this nice used track that I know the foxes use quite a lot, and I've seen the otter come through here previously, and it's scattered with fresh poop from the foxes, which is good, so I know that the foxes are still active and still here. And this track is still very heavily used, as you can see here. It goes all the way through there and down through this fence and back into those bushes there, which then backs onto the river, which is just behind here. So it's definitely still active. Cormorant just flying above. Yeah, so there's still definitely a lot of wildlife that they're using the fen. I spoke to a local when I first got here, and he was telling me that before Christmas there were 3 bittern that were spotted on the fen on the lake. So they're still bittern here. Apparently they fly across to the river that runs along the back when it's cold, because the lake freezes over a little bit. So it's not going to be quite as easy as I thought it was going to be. A lot of the reed beds are starting to die down a little bit, so it's a lot more open. There's not as much cover, so it's going to be a little bit more difficult than I first anticipated. But fingers crossed, I get some good footage of some really special species, and yeah, it's going to be a challenge, but that's what it's all about. I'm looking forward to it. So this morning I set up my trail camera. I'm going to leave for a few days, and this afternoon I've come for a walk down the river. It's pretty windy, the conditions aren't ideal today. It's a bit dark, it's just started to rain. Yeah, there's lots of signs of wildlife, which is good. Makes me hopeful for the next couple of weeks, but today's not the ideal day for actually spotting and filming anything, so I think I'm gonna call it a day and head home now. Tomorrow's meant to be better. That wasn't the start I expected, and as you can probably tell from the shaky and erratic footage, I was very ill prepared for that encounter with the otter. I'd already packed my camera gear away, it had started raining, it was really windy. I just thought, today's not the day for filming, I'd just scope out some locations. But then it happened. It surfaced parallel with me as I was walking back to the car, about 20 meters away from where I'd parked. And I just frantically got my camera out, put it on the tripod, found it in the water again. It dived down, and then it came back up a couple of seconds later with this massive fish. Can we take a minute just to appreciate how impressive it is for an otter to be able to catch a fish that size and then drag it through the water to find a place for it to eat. And a fish that size is pretty strong as well, so that was impressive. But yeah, I managed to get those couple of shots as I've got my camera onto my tripod and found it again. But the pathway that I was on was lined on both sides with quite thick bushes and trees. So I had to run down this pathway in order to get to an opening where I could try and find it again. I managed to spot it a couple of times and then it disappeared and I lost sight of it. Nonetheless, an incredible start to this series, and I was so happy to have got my first target species on film on day one. And also, it was my first wild otter, so I was over the moon. Now the question is, will I be able to find it again? If you have enjoyed this video, guys, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up, drop a comment down below, hit subscribe, and click that bell notification so that you can be notified when I upload the next video, which will be very soon. But in the meantime, thank you very much, and I'll see you soon. Peace. Off the back of the I found Fiskerton Fen, a small wet fenland landscape, just 7 hectares in size. I'm not going to lock my door either because 7 hectares inside. I did it, it's in my head. It's in my head. Ah! Right. And amazingly, I found Fiskerton Fen.